Greetings, viewers. This is A Vision Entertainment once again. We have a special show tonight. Dr. Deanna Brown Thomas is the president of the James Brown Family Foundation and the daughter of music legend James Brown. She is a dedicated humanitarian entrepreneur and keynote speaker who has spent decades preserving her father's legacy while building her own as a community leader in Augusta, Georgia. Please welcome Dr. Deanna Brown Thomas. How are you?
I feel good, like I knew I would. Thank you for having me.
You are welcome. I know you've been busy. I have been trying to reach you. I see you all around doing so much. I said, you know what? I just have to take my time, be patient, because she'll get back with me, maybe. And you did. Wow.
Well, thank you for being patient.
You're welcome. Once again, I just want to thank you because you do a lot of work. You wear a lot of hats. You stay busy. And I want to just go back to the beginning. How was the relationship and the father and daughter relationship with the legendary, iconic James Brown? How was the relationship growing up?
Well, growing up, my father was very strict. He knew that, he would tell me, you born royalty, you born with everything. I wasn't born with everything. I had nothing. I had to create what I have. So he always remind me, you gotta pay it forward. You gotta do certain things because of who you are. But he was very strict. Education was very important to him because he wasn't afforded that opportunity. He had to stop going to school in the 7th grade in order to go out and make a few pennies to bring home to my grandparents because they were very poor in the segregated South. And so 7th grade was it. He stopped. He went and picked cotton. He worked on the railroad. He was a bag boy in the Chinese grocery stores in the hood to do whatever he could to bring home pennies. And when he was born, what a lot of people may not know is when my father was born, he was stillborn. They had to kind of like, breathe air into him. And when he was born, in a shack by a midwife, because my parents didn't have anything to go to no hospital with, my grandparents rather. And so he was stillborn. And there's a little inside joke that we do is like when he was born, he wasn't saying anything. So when the midwife, spanked him on his bottom, all of a sudden it was and they heard it all the way from South Carolina to Augusta, Georgia. Wow. Therefore, James Brown was born. But growing up, he was strict as a young child, of course. But once I got grown and I got on the road and started working, for James Brown Enterprises, and he's teaching me the ropes and the business. It was a different type of relationship then because of course the conversations were different. Yeah. And he was literally teaching me. I traveled all over the world with him and I did his hair. That's very important.
Hairstyle.
Very important. Very important.
Wow. Well, when you say teaching you the business, how old were you at that time? And what exactly was he teaching you?
Well, I was grown by that time. I had already graduated from college, but I would, go on the road with him and he would just show me so many different things and talk about the business, and how he saw it. Years ago, he just felt like, the way the music business was going in terms of what they were just allowing to come out just wasn't gonna cut it. He was like me, Aretha Franklin, Barry White, Ray Charles, all these nice, great artists. We did it without cussing folk out and calling people out their name and degrading races. We made it and made good music that people are still listening to. You think about those songs that's got all of that stuff in it. Yeah. That ain't going to be old school for folks later on.
That's right.
When you get older, you're going to be like, I was young and dumb and I listened to it, but now I'm older and I'm wiser and I know better. It was, right. He didn't appreciate it. He didn't want his music used if they were going to be a whole lot of cursing and tearing down other races and calling women bees and hoes and stuff. He didn't want his music associated with that. And
Yeah.
you have to respect that because that was his music that God blessed him with.
Wow. And you know, when you hear James Brown, his samples are all over the place. I mean, from rap, rock and roll, hip, R&B, everybody has his samples. Do you also have the rights to that too? Like you have all of the sampling, all of the what you call it, the residuals and all of this stuff.
Clearances is what you're talking about, too.
The clearance is also, yeah.
Yeah, they have to be cleared in order to go through. And I don't personally handle all of that. As you say, I got enough going on. But we have a team of people that has to look at all of that.
Okay, cool. So you need that when you're dealing with the iconic James Brown. You need a team like he did.
Yes, you need a team for this, a team for that.
That's right. That's
Yes.
right. A whole entrepreneur. You're right about that. You need a whole army. Wow. What were the biggest challenges you faced when establishing your own identity while working as an executive vice president of James Brown Enterprises?
Well, I went to radio school. I went to Columbia School of Broadcasting, so I did radio. And I had my own radio show. I worked for Kathy Hughes. I worked for Clear Channel, and then I worked for Dad, of course, because we owned radio stations down in Augusta, Georgia area. So I had my own, name and career, and by working, for these different radio stations and building my own career. Yeah. So of course, I became a fan. I mean, he was my dad, but also became a fan. But I love all kinds of music, and he trained me that way. He's like, because of who you are, that's already going to open the doors for you. But you got to be able to just relate to everybody. I mean, my dad could relate to everybody. Everybody relate to him. I mean, you talk about rock and roll, rap, hip hop, or whatever. Heck, R&B, classical. There was a man by the name of Timmy Wilson who just recently passed. Hilson, I'm sorry, and he was a huge classical producer, and he came and flew here to South Carolina years ago to talk to my dad and interview him because he was so, he was deep into his music, but he did classical. So my dad touched everybody. I remember an Egyptian guy came over here years ago when Dad was still alive because he wanted Dad in his video. Dad said, "Okay, come on over here then. You want me in there? I ain't coming over there. Come on over here." And that man came over here to Augusta, Georgia because he wanted Dad in his video. So it's like all corners of the world. I don't care. You ain't even got to speak English. James Brown. I mean, his fans all over the world follow me. And I'm just like, wow, just people from everywhere. Sometimes I got to hit C translation because I can't read that.
Yeah. Wow, that have to be, and just imagine, I'm just imagining all of the people you came in contact with, while he was here doing concerts and backstage, and it was overwhelming. I mean, we talking about iconic figures.
For example, Bono, lead singer for U2. Right? Dad was doing in Vegas, and he was doing one of those shows after one of those fights. I think it was Bo Riddick. So he don't go on till like midnight, right?
That's right. 12:30,
yeah. And so we was all up in the dressing room, watching the fight from backstage, and Bono wanted to come and speak to Dad. So Dad was back in his private area, and so Bono was out in the living room area. And I was just cracking up over Bono because he was like a kid in an amusement park when Dad walked out of the dressing room. I mean, he was so giddy, he couldn't take the smile off his face, turning red. They turn red.
That's right. He was happy.
Wow, I'm looking at this thing, and I'm like, this joker here, he was just so happy, like I say, like a kid in an amusement park or something. And, these are major artists. But when you talk about James Brown, you don't get no more major. Michael Jackson told you that.
That's right.
Dad is even featured in the new movie about Michael. There's a segment where where Michael is in the living room watching his floor model TV, and Dad is on the screen for the Tammy show. So you see this black and white image. That's Dad, and Michael is studying him.
Wow.
watching him. That part is in the film.
Wow. Wow. That is amazing. See, and I didn't even know that, but Michael Jackson loved James Brown. He loved him. You know.
Michael came to Daddy's funeral. It was
Oh, wow.
after all of that craziness was going on. He had went to Bahrain to get out of the States,
Yeah.
and because of all of the court stuff, and he came back and was in Vegas, and Daddy, and that's when the funeral, Daddy passed in the funeral, and he came to that funeral, and he was literally told, people told him, you probably shouldn't go because the
Yeah.
paparazzi going to tear you up. They're going to wear you down. Michael said, I don't care. I'm
That's right.
going
That's
to
right.
James
That's
Brown's
right.
funeral.
That's right. That's right. So, wow, I'm just surprised that they never really did a song together. Like actually record something together. You know, they
Yeah, I don't know why that,
that never really happened. Took
didn't
place.
happen. But I can tell you this, Michael looked up to Dad a lot, as
Yeah.
everybody knows. And those that didn't know, they know it now for sure.
That's right.
And when he gave the award to Dad on BET years ago, he said it
Yeah.
then.
That's
He
right.
said, I haven't looked up to no other entertainer more than this man right here.
That's right.
And when that, with what people don't know, this is, I'll tell you a story that nobody knows. People don't know this, but after, when Michael was going through all of that stuff with the courts, he called Dad because he didn't want Dad to love him less or feel any kind of way.
Yeah, because
with all of the stuff that was being said.
Right.
And so he called Dad and was like, I'm sorry, Mr. Brown. I don't want to disappoint you or, make you feel some kind of way about me. That was important to Michael.
That's
and Dad told Michael, said, Michael, listen, I love you. I love you anyway. He says, don't let that, don't think that I don't still love you.
That's right, regardless of what the press says. Wow, regardless. That was wonderful. Because he didn't look at him no. A lot of people turned their backs on Mike at that time. But James Brown was definitely dedicated and loyal to him.
Yeah, he didn't turn his back on him at all.
Right. That's right. Wow. We spoke about your father he never finished school. That's what you mentioned earlier. And he was notoriously strict about education and respect.
Yes.
How did that old school discipline shape your own parenting or leadership style?
Oh, my son, no. When he talking, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Don't come to me with no, yeah, no, I don't want to hear all that. Even when he texts me, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Don't be texting me, yeah, no, I ain't one of your girlfriends or your little good friends out here. Well, he married now, so ain't no girlfriends. But I'm saying, look, no.
That's
and
right.
I've had friends to say it's a breath of fresh air when he was younger, to say, it's a breath of fresh air to hear a young child saying yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am. Some people think it's old fashioned, but my father was like, no, show the respect. And he ain't play that stuff. And even with him, he would call people by their last name. And out of respect, he would, Mr. Jones. Of course, they call him Mr. Brown, but he'd return it and say Mr. Jones,
Jones.
Because he felt as though you gotta demand respect, first of all.
Right.
And then you got to give it if you're demanding it as well.
That's right. You're right about that. So he was strict. He was very strict about that and respect. That's wonderful because in today's world with the new millennials, it's just all out of control. Like I'm in Philadelphia. I'm in Philly right now. So the kids out here, something happened in the household. And then there's a lot of young grandmothers and young mothers.
Yeah.
So that respect is out the window. It's gone. But I'll be 50 next week.
So happy birthday.
Thank you. Appreciate that. So the raising I had, the raising coming up, it was strict.
Yeah.
And that's what I put in my children.
I don't know no other way. And I'm not gonna do it no other way. I tell people in a minute, look, if your child come over here and they want to talk back, I'm gonna let them know that's not what we do in this household. Okay. Right. Now, if they got an issue, you're gonna have to come and get them. And if not, then give me permission to handle it because I'm gonna handle it.
Old school style. That's
Yeah, I
right.
can't. You can't sit there and baby the child. What's this? What it say? Spoiled,
Yeah, spread the child. No, it's the rod. Oh man, I just was reading it too.
spoil the, spare the
Spread
rod and spoil the child, or
the
something like
child.
that.
Something like that. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. No, honey. I come from my daddy ain't play that mess,
That's right.
and my mama didn't either. So I don't know no other way but for you to be right.
That's
Okay.
right.
They talk about, oh, time out. Time out. Yeah, time out. Come over here. I got your time out.
That's right. That's right. I don't play that. Time out. My kid's big now, so they have that teaching. So
Right.
they fine now. You
Right.
know?
My son, no, don't come to me with that mess. I mean, you grown now. I can't, fight you or beat you, but if don't call me and ask for nothing either.
Right. That's right. That's right.
Get it right.
Get it right. Wow. You are a radio DJ, business owner, TNT transportation, and a mother. When you aren't James Brown's daughter, what
I'm always
parts?
James Brown's daughter. I have people say Miss Brown, Miss Thomas. I'm like, look, I'm either one, but I'm always
Yeah,
James Brown's
you're
daughter.
always, but sometimes when you just go on your own, let's just say you just doing
Right.
your
I
thing,
got you. You're right.
and
Yeah,
what parts?
you gotta have
Yeah,
your own life.
yeah,
I can't just
basically like that.
live
Yeah,
being James Brown's daughter. I gotta
yeah,
have my own life, because I mean, God gave me a life. He gave me purpose.
that's right. That's right. And see, that's how I was trying to put it. I should have just broke it down like, when you have your own life, when you're doing your own thing, what parts of your own identity bring you the most joy?
Oh, being with my grandson. That's out. Hands down.
Yes. There you go. There you go.
Hands down, being with my grandson. I had congestive heart failure October 1st, 2020. I almost died. My
Yeah.
heart function was 10%. That's what daddy died of, congestive heart failure. So I
Wow.
changed my life around. I changed everything. Changed what I eat, where I go, who I'm hanging with, what I do, everything. Because
Wow.
my change was my thank you to God for
Right.
letting me stay around so I could see my grandson be born.
Wow. Since you talked about that, and I had those in the questions about that, what were some of the symptoms you felt in the beginning to know that
I was having a
something was wrong?
tightening. I was at my desk and I was having a tightening of the chest and I was sweating profusely. So I went
Oh,
in the bathroom because old school grandma be like, you ain't got no but some gas, but that wasn't the case. So when I went I wasn't even gonna go to the emergency room. I was gonna go home and lay down, but my sorority sister was like, no, you got to go to the hospital, get you an
yeah.
EKG, see what's going on.
Right. That's
So I was
right.
like, girl, I just need to lay down. If I'd have laid down, it would have been rest in peace. All right. It would have been rest, but it would have been rest in peace.
Rest in
But
peace.
I went, found out my heart was only functioning at 10%. So I had to get a defibrillator put in over my heart. And I call that the hand of God. Because obviously I wasn't doing so well. So my God is protecting my heart now, because obviously I wasn't doing a good job of it. But I can tell you right now, I'm doing the best I can for his glory, because he
Right.
let me live, and the changes I made, I don't drink alcohol no more. The changes I made, I'm like, I'm gonna do what I got to do to live, so I can
That's right.
have
Right.
joyfulness with my grandson.
Wow. That's amazing because you back together again. You don't have any more symptoms. Everything is just completely gone. Great.
Right, I take my medication and I
Yeah.
do my sea moss, my black seed oil, because I don't just take their medication. I do some natural stuff too.
Okay. Well, that's great. That's great. They always say things like, "Don't mix it." The doctors always tell you not to mix it.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, you know how they do. Because I just had a kidney. I got a kidney transplant, and they always
Oh,
tell
did
me,
you?
yeah. So they don't want me to mix nothing. They want me to just keep taking their meds. Don't mix it without. So I do what I want.
You better. You better do what the spirit leads you to do. That's what I can tell you.
Yeah, yeah. Because you have to kind of do your own thing. Because them people, they go to the left on you. you know?
No, I'm gonna do my sea moss. I'm gonna do my elderberry, my vitamins, my black seed oil, and have plenty action in the sun, and and get that vitamin D and my vitamin G. Me and God gonna have plenty conversation.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. I hear you. That's right. I just want to go into empowerment versus entertainment. In your work with the incarcerated, what is the most common misconception people have about the power of feeling good as a tool for survival?
What as a survival?
What is the most common misconception people have about the power of feeling good as a tool for survival?
Wow. Well, everybody's feeling good can be different, you know.
Okay, yeah.
But let's talk about feeling good in a natural sense.
Okay.
Not if I had a drink, you know, not if I, went and did something else or whatever, or even being with a person. Not that feeling good.
Yeah.
The feeling good that you know that you living the best life you can live. Not, living my best life party, but living my best life treating people right and treating yourself right as well.
That's right. Wow. Well
That's
said.
the feel good. That's empowerment.
That's the feel. Wow. Well said. You broke it down real good. You did. Well, but how do you decide? Because everybody wants to talk about James, the legendary James Brown. They ask you questions. How do you decide which parts of your father's personal life are essential to his public message and which should remain private?
Well, I can't tell you what should remain private because if I tell you, it ain't private.
It ain't private. That's right. Or, yeah, you understand.
So, look, old school, there's some things you got to take to the grave. Okay.
There you go.
And that's just what it is. That's just what it is. Sometimes you got to do that. And we try to be as,
But yeah, I lost you for a minute. There you go. You coming back?
I dropped my phone. So you gonna have to edit that.
yeah, that's no problem. That's no problem.
But I just needed to plug my phone up because it was starting to go dead. So
yeah, that's fine.
That's all I was trying to do. But basically, you everybody's got a different perspective in life, and for me, I'm sorry, trying to
because I want you to the spot you was in before, just try to get that same spot back.
No problem. 1 second. Let me just 1 second. Okay.
There you go.
There we go. Yeah. So my dad wasn't no perfect man. He had his faults and flaws like us all.
Like everybody.
And so, what I've learned also, I'm gonna tell you this, even though he had his faults and flaws, he's got fans that love him anyway.
That's right.
Okay. They like, look, he ain't, he's an entertainer and human like everybody else. That ain't got nothing to do with the talent that God gave him for the music that he did. And I've learned that there are some people that are critical, but for the faults and the things that he did that were wrong. But then there are some that's like, you know what? Hey, I ain't perfect, so I don't expect for him to be. But I love his music, and his music changed my life. There's messages in the music that James Brown did that changed people's life.
That's right. In the movie, I know they have any type of documentary or pieces of James Brown's life that they air on stage, even the movie. How much of that were you involved in?
Well, we were consultants on the movie, but I can tell you, even if you're a consultant, that's just all you are. You're a consultant, the people that's putting the money out, they gonna have the last word on what really flies through.
Okay, because they putting up the big bucks, so.
Right, they putting up the money, so they call the shots. If you got to put up the money, then you get to say, well, why don't we go this way? Why don't we go that way?
Right, that's right. Wow. I know he's been in Hollywood, since forever, when he was out there. What stories or what things have you seen as a child or just growing up that just was like, no, this is not the place to be. Like being out of Hollywood, looking at certain things. Because I know you was there with your father out there. Like, what are certain things that you just found bizarre, or just like, no, this is not it. You know?
Well, he had an office. Wait a minute. This way. He had an office out there, and on Hollywood and Vine.
Okay.
And I wanted to live out there, work in the office, but my father was like, "No, they'll eat you alive out there. I can't handle that."
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, he was like, "No," and he wouldn't let me work out in the office in LA.
Wow, because he knew it wasn't right.
He's a
Wow.
man, and I'm a woman. I'm his
That's
young
right.
daughter. I'm his young
That's right.
girl.
That's right.
He wasn't gonna have that,
He had to
all that.
protect
He
you.
was like, "No,
He had to
Much as I would
protect
love for you to be in the office," he said, "they'll eat you alive out there," and he might have to catch a case.
you. That's right. So he saved you from that part, that
Yes.
part of life.
I was mad for a while, because of course I'm young. I want to be in LA. I can work in my daddy office, the
Yeah.
whole fly stuff, But as I got older, I understood why he did what he did,
Right.
and I thank
That's
my
right.
daddy for it. Mm-hmm.
That's right. You understood then.
Yes.
Wow. You know, since we talked about uh, not heart failure, but you was diagnosed with congested heart. Yeah, congested heart, right?
It's called congestive heart failure. It is
Okay,
heart failure.
congested heart failure. What has been the most rewarding part of sharing your story with other women of color?
It's amazing what God has sent you through so that you can be a blessing to somebody else, you
Right.
know? Because in the meantime, you're like, God, why? What? But it is not always about you. I felt like you had to clean me up in certain ways and certain
That's right.
things.
That's right.
And now that I'm clean in certain ways and certain things, I ain't no 110%. I'm human, but
That's
you
right.
know, I can share with others just what it really is.
That's right. That's right.
Because I
So
am a heart failure patient. I'm doing much better now, no issues. But I can say, hey, look, I could have been dead and gone and sleeping in my grave, as the gospel songs say.
that's right. That's right. Wow. And your story helps a lot of people, just like my story helps a lot of people also.
Because
You
I
know.
look at it like this: it ain't about me being James Brown's daughter. That's not why I'm saved.
Yeah.
That's not why I'm doing better. That could be anybody.
That's right.
It could be anybody. But because I have maybe a little bit more bigger of a platform, and God chooses to use me for that.
Your father famously said the message is more important than the music.
Yes.
How are you evolving that message for a generation that may not have seen him perform live?
Well, right now I have the James Brown Academy of Music Pupils where we're teaching kids year round. It's an after school program, but it's a year round program where we're teaching them music, instruments, music theory, but it's also a life learning lesson. They learn the music to James Brown and the messages. So we talk about it. We explain it and we listen to the kids, see what's on their mind, what they thinking, from about
That's right.
today, and show them how the messages that James Brown is talking about are still very relevant, even in today's times.
Even in today's time. Do you allow them to see all his videos and dance moves and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah, they definitely got to see all of that. They got to study
That's
him. They
right.
got
They
to
got to
know.
study.
You got to know. You got to do just like Michael did. Michael studied James Brown the Great and became greater. You
That's
got to
right.
study. You got to learn and listen to the interviews so you can see what he was talking about, the things that
That's
was
right.
important to him. I can tell you some things, but you can listen to him directly. Thank God for YouTube. You can go up and
Right.
listen to James Brown all you want to. You can just sit there and never move.
That's right. It's very interesting just watching him, and also when you hear his interviews when he's talking, and he really have a lot of wisdom, knowledge, and wisdom
Yes,
to
for
come.
for a man who only went to the seventh grade
That's right.
and has no education, God blessed him with wisdom and knowledge. I mean, my daddy would call me 1, 2, 3 in the morning. He'd be in China, Russia, Prague, anywhere
Yeah.
performing, and he'd be amazed sometimes at how the people from other countries was into him, and he'd be talking about it,
Yeah.
and I'd give almost anything to get those calls from my daddy again, you know. Then I was like, I'm sleep. What you doing? Sleep, daddy. But
That's right.
now
That's
to
right.
get that wisdom that he was dropping in my ear, I'd do almost anything to get those calls again. Because yes, it was wisdom and knowledge that he was dropping in my ear all the time. He was a constant fountain of
That's right.
wisdom.
That's right. For those that will be watching this, and people look at entertainers like, because we know James Brown was an icon, so that means that he's seen everything and he have everything. For you, was it ever a time where you felt like everything was just overwhelming, where it gets bored just by seeing all of the cars, all of the houses, all of the money? Did it ever get bored to you? I always wanted to ask that question. Like,
Well, I mean, growing up, it's just like anybody else, you know, he was daddy, you know what I mean? And yeah, sometimes it was, you know, especially them late night traveling, and you got to go from the limousine to the hotel and then the venue and back to the limousine to the airport. It can be tiresome, you know, and it can be a lot.
wow,
Please, not, I got something. Please don't turn to me.
wow,
Excuse me 1 second, honey.
no problem. Go ahead.
Excuse me 1 second.
No problem. No problem.
Okay.
Well, since you talked about the late nights, traveling, and all of that, you often refer to your time on the road with him as your real education. What was the single most profound lesson you've learned that no traditional school could have taught?
Oh, wow. How my dad handled business. He had a 75-25 rule. 75% of the business that you do, and you can really apply this to anything. 75% of the business, the paperwork, the contracts, dealing with employees, or whatever the case may be, that type of stuff. That's 75% of it. 25% is just the presentation or the show.
Okay.
If you don't have your 75% together, then you just gave away 25%. You just gave it away.
Okay. Wow.
If you don't have your business together. So, you know, that was a lesson learned, because it's like you can be so caught up in hype till you miss the whole thing.
That's right. That's right. Wow. That's deep. You know, and what you've been going through as far as the congestive heart failure, how does your faith guide you when navigating the unanswered questions that still surround your father's passing? Like, you know, I know you like, well, why did you? I don't know if you were saying that, but why did that happen to my father? Some people say, why did you do this, God? They kind of question God. So
no, I didn't go there. I didn't go there at all. I didn't go there at all. I mean, of course, I miss my daddy. I didn't, you know, it hurt that he passed, but I didn't go there in terms of the questioning why. Because my faith, I'm strong enough in my faith to understand that God has his own calendar.
right.
And we do not know what's on his calendar.
Everybody.
We have no idea what he has planned. And it can still hurt. I mean, I miss him. Sometimes I break down and cry like a baby.
Yeah.
But, you know, that was his appointed time.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't, God wouldn't allow it to happen.
That's right.
When it did.
And once you get that understanding, it kind of helps you a little better to know that it's not in your plan, it's God's plan, you know.
I mean, if it was my dad's plan, he wouldn't, you know, he wouldn't, you know, we don't say, okay, I'm ready to die this day, this hour, this time. No. Right. He still had gigs booked. He was going to work.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. Do you remember the last things that he was saying to you? Like actually like
the last day I saw my father was December 22nd, 2006 at the James Brown toy giveaway and at the Imperial Theater, downtown Augusta, Georgia, where he would give away toys every year to kids. And he came out, he had pneumonia, and it was cold and rainy because it was December, but that didn't stop him from coming out to make sure he was there as you know, presents to give away those toys. And I teased him. He got out. He had his black and white leather jumpsuit on with the zipper zipped all the way down, like he wanted to show the hairs on his chest. And I'm like, "Oh, you trying to bring sexy back?" And so I zipped it up nice, and he laughed at me. But I seen him get in the limousine, and I knew he was sick. He wasn't feeling well. That was the last time I seen and talked to my dad. Wow. And I, there was just a lot. That was the last thing. That was the last thing he really did. That was the last public appearance that he made, giving away toys to the kids.
Wow, that was the last. That was a great deed that he did with children. Wow.
Well, he was a child one time who didn't have no Christmas. Didn't have no Christmas toys and no Christmas tree. He didn't have that.
Wow. Wow. You have more siblings, right? Any
yes.
Brothers?
Yes. Okay. Brothers and sisters.
Brothers and sisters. Okay. And I know everyone is close and have been that way, right?
No, because we don't all have the same mothers.
Okay.
Yeah, we all came up in different states.
Different state, okay.
Different mothers. Me and my sister, Dr. Deanna Brown, we have the same mother.
Okay. Okay, that's great. And with everything that you do, as far as like work, handle some things with the music, what do you do on your spare time where you just like, okay, let me go? Do you take a trip? Like,
what to the beach. Go to the beach. Go to the beach.
Wow. And just relax.
And let the water calm me, and let the sun soothe me, and let the sand heal me, and listen to what God got to say, because he be having plenty to say.
That's right. It feels good to just sit alone, right? And just look at the water, or just look up at the clouds, just because you get to think better, you get a clear mind.
Well, and God ain't talking to you if you got a lot of noise around you.
That's right. No distractions. He'll distract you to change your life, to get your life together.
He'll do that. He'll do some
things to you.
Yeah. But he ain't. Yeah, if he sees it, especially if it's going to get in the way of his purpose.
That's right.
He will definitely step in if it's going to get in the way of his purpose. So I felt that way with my congestive heart failure. Whatever I wasn't doing right, he had to step in, because the things he had planned for me to do, he had to make sure I was straight and healed and happy.
That's right. At that moment right there, you actually say, you know what? This is it. Like, you did a complete 360 with life changes. That's great. Yes.
That was my way of saying thank you, God. Because if I go back to doing the same thing, then I don't appreciate what he did. And you got to make changes so so he'll know that you appreciate him saving you. I don't see it no other way. I can't see how people can get well and go back to doing. I don't get it. How can you go back to doing what God healed you from?
And you almost lost your life. How can you go back?
Like, you want to live like that?
Wow. What can modern independent artists learn from your father's do-it-myself approach in the music industry?
Now, I don't want nobody to give me nothing. Open up the door, I get it myself. He put it in a song.
That's right.
You gotta work. You gotta put the work in. There's no way. It's no easy road. There's no shortcuts. You gotta put the work in. Period.
Right. You gotta work no matter what. It's like no days off sometimes. You gotta work.
Exactly, and that's the case. No days off. No days off. Really. I mean, every morning he woke up, he was on the phone with anybody around the world handling business. You gotta work. You gotta put the work in.
Wow. Well, that's one thing that's important, because if you want to do something in life, you have to go hard.
You really do. You can't sit there and, be lackadaisical about it. You got to be very determined. That's what a lot of young kids, I hope, see when they go see the movie Michael. Michael was determined. No matter what he went through, he was determined. And he went through a lot.
That's right. He did. Now, Mike, the whole family went through a lot of them.
Yeah.
When you think of what does success mean to you besides awards and fame?
I don't even know if that's success or not. That's just recognition.
Yeah, but some people have it twisted, like they think that
Right.
is.
I get you, but I'm giving it since you asked me.
That's right. That's right. So
That's
this is your,
recognition. That's
yeah,
not success. Success is when you've pleased God in the purpose of for your life.
right.
When you live in your purpose.
That's right. That's right.
That's success.
That
When you
is.
walk in your purpose. That's success.
That's one of the best. There's nothing else after that. Like that is just it.
That's it.
You know, living for Him, doing what's right for yourself, and still waking up every morning and you can see another day and talk to God. That's success to me. I mean,
Every morning, I gotta talk to him. I can't look you later for social media, later for the news, and it's a lot of news out here. I have got to have word with God and hear what He got to say before I do anything. I can't. I know other people can. I cannot. I have got to
that's
read
right.
some word and meditate with God before I can take on today the day's challenges.
That's right. That's right. That's right. You have to. You have to have that connection.
Yeah, I can't
Yes.
just wait till Sunday.
Serving God is a lifetime thing to you go into that ground. Like
Every time I
it don't
take some
stop.
breath, I'm all day long. Thank you, God. Thank you, God.
That's right.
I'm all day long doing that.
Even before you eat, before you step outside, everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
No. You also talked about you once mentioned styling his hair on tour. We talked about that earlier. And those quiet behind the scene moments, what was the most frequent topic of conversation he wanted to discuss while you doing his hair?
Well, he was, very, very serious about, making sure young kids understood what he was about and where he came from.
Right.
And that's why using his music in certain ways he did not appreciate, because he felt like God gave him that music and it shouldn't be used that way. And if he didn't use it that way, no one else should. So it was very important to him that young kids understood, what it was about. When they put the name on the James Brown Arena here in Augusta, that was important to him. That set with him because that was something that young black kids can look up and see a name of somebody that looked like them.
That's right. That's right.
Ain't no arena. There was no arena named after no artist, black or white, nowhere. St. Louis, of course, they had the Joe Louis Arena, but he was a sports, not an artist or anything. But we're fighting that now because they've taken his name off the arena, so we're dealing with that now.
Fight, fight, fight. Right? You got to
Yeah,
fight.
constant. Can't let up.
You can't let up.
As soon as you let up, that makes it look like you don't care.
That's right. And it's easy for them to take it or do what they want to do with it.
I can't understand how my dad has done so much for so many people, and you don't even hear them standing up fighting for him on certain occasions. It's amazing to me.
Yeah, yeah. Those they loved him when he was here.
Yeah,
He had everybody around him, but when it's tough, you know how it go. I don't know
yeah,
why it's like that.
yeah. I don't either.
Wow. And we talked about JAMP, JAMP, the James Brown Academy of Music Pupils, right?
Yes.
What is the specific life lesson you hope every student takes away from that program?
You gotta live for yourself, and nobody else.
Live for yourself. That's right. Live for yourself, and nobody else. Wow.
That's a lyric in Daddy's song. I'll go crazy.
Wow. I just want to thank you for coming to A Vision Entertainment. I really do. It was a wonderful interview. I told you I wasn't going to keep you long. I didn't want to do that. So I just want to thank you for that also. And just let the people know exactly what's next for you and what are you doing.
Well, you can always go to James Brown Family Foundation, Google James Brown Family Foundation. And what's coming up next is James Brown, the musical, the Broadway musical. We are in development of the Broadway musical now. So we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. Follow us so that you can know what we're doing. And
Wow.
know when that musical is going to be near you, because we'll be doing some things before we actually get to Broadway.
That's
But
right.
just tune in, and I'm on Instagram at James Brown Daughter. I made it real easy for everybody to
That's right.
find me.
James Brown door. That's right. Biggest day. You can't miss it. Wow. Dr. Deanna Brown Thomas, I thank you for this interview.
You're
I,
welcome. You're
this
welcome. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
This is Deanna Brown Thomas, daughter of the Godfather of Soul, James Brown, and you're watching A Vision Entertainment.